got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got killer beats, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
You thought they'd take a quirkless bastard like you when they have someone as awesome as me? No, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm better than you, but I can still try. Try? You don't even have a stinking quirk, unlike everyone else here. Though Midoriya cannot disagree with such a statement, he still believed he deserved a chance to try, and he wishes Katsuki saw that viewpoint. Hours later, when he was heading home, he picked up his notebook that Bakugo threw out. He almost cried, but stayed positive. Come on, who's gonna become a hero? Me. Let's go, Izuku Mydoria. Let's go. He pumps his fist and feels a gust of wind, and he suddenly looks around scared and jumpy. It felt unnatural. It wasn't a windy day. Very hot, actually. He disregards this. He makes his way into an underpass and plans to take a shortcut today. However, while he moves, he begins to feel uncomfortable. And suddenly from the sewers, something begins to arise. He turns gasping as he finds a massive sludge. Yeah, you're not much, kid, but you'll do. A villain. It's no. The moment he takes a step back, he trips. Crap. I need to run. Move. The moment he falls, the villain would spring forward, lashing onto his body, and air supply is cut off as he would try to grab the villain, but it wasn't enough. You can't get me off, stupid. I'm just liquid. Now be quiet and help me hide from that bastard. Slowly, he feels himself losing consciousness, the suffocation, the fear, the way in which this villain just suddenly came after him. He thought it was going to be a normal day. And as much as he struggles, it was useless. But then a powerful gust of wind tears into him as he is grabbed and ripped away from the villain. All Might? I guess it's not all bad. Everything would suddenly go dark. Young man. Midoriya feels his cheek being slapped over and over and over until he slowly opens his eyes. He sees him, the #1 hero. They're no longer at the underpass, but instead at a random street. Oh, thank God. Thought I lost you there. Obviously, Izuku is very starstruck and gets up abruptly to thank him as he says that he has no recollection of what happened, but he knows that he got attacked. He apologizes because All Might had to intervene since he's so weak. However, obviously All Might consoles him, saying that it's not his fault, and now he's gonna trap the villain. Wait, he's using soda bottles, he thinks? This is so awesome. I have to get his autograph. Wait, my notebook. He searches for it and finds it on the floor, but as he opens it up already, he sees a signature and he just freaks out. He promises to make this a family heirloom while he just continuously bows over and over, almost like Ida. And All Might begins to head off, saying that it was the least he could do. Until next time. He would pace forward, and after squatting down, he leaps into the sky with ease. But while in the air, he feels something is off and begins to hear screaming? He finds that Midoriya had hung onto him for dear life, so he had to land. And though he did panic a bit at first, the hero would land atop a random roof and give the kid a moment to collect himself. But he feels a cough coming on and holds his hand to his mouth. He sees blood. Dang it, already? I need to go, young man. Hopefully you can use those stairs and get down. No, wait, I have a question, All Might. Sir, it's always been my dream to be a hero, even without a quirk. Is it possible? Can someone like me become a hero like you? Quirks are... He can't even look his idol in the eye as he mumbles, and he continues his words. Maybe that's why I always got picked on, but I just always wanted to save people and look cool. Is that exhaust I'm hearing? Who are you? As he finally looks up, he sees someone with blonde hair and the appearance of a skeleton. This man said he was All Might, but Izuku couldn't believe it. You know how people hold in their gut while they're trying to look like they have a summer body? It's like that for me. No way. Tired, All Might would fall to the floor and said that he had an accident, and he showed an old wound which haunted him to this day. Don't write about this on the internet, okay? I had my respiratory system destroyed. Due to that, my hero hours have been cut to only 3 hours a day, maybe less. There's a reason why I keep smiling, you know. It's to stave off this pressure, this weight I feel. I'm sorry. Well, don't feel pity. I've kept the secret for a reason. The symbol of justice can't falter to evil so easily, but that's why you need a quirk. Villains will be ruthless. You need to be able to protect yourself and others. No, I don't think you can become a hero without one. I see. All Might says that he should just try being an officer or literally anything else involving saving people, which doesn't require a meta ability. He doesn't crush his dreams purposely. He was just trying to give him options. And having said his piece, Toshinori would get up and walk to the door. And as he walks away, he says that he has to be realistic nonetheless, as lives hang in the balance when you work as a hero. And Izuku was speechless. That's about what I expected. He eventually makes his way down the stairs after collecting himself and heads home. It's safe to say he's never felt more depressed. An accumulation of always being made fun of, having his dream denied led to this very moment. Even his hero doesn't believe he can do what he dreams he could. It's like a 30% chance. No, more like a 15 to 20. As he mutters this, he begins to ooze a strange aura as bystanders notice this hollow look in his eyes. It's a bit creepy, to be honest, but he's a kid and they kind of feel bad for him because he must be going through something, but it didn't mean that they were going to comfort him either. Broken out of his trance, he looks behind and sees a rising pillar of smoke, not far off. He knows he shouldn't, but he starts running for it, like most in the street, because they want to know what was going on. When he arrives at the scene, it's because of a villain that such a fire occurred, and in the back of the crowd, he tries to peek through. Man, how long has he been holding on for? Poor kid. What are the heroes doing? He's gonna suffocate. Kid. Wait, it can't be. He quickly looks closer and closer and sees the Sludge villain. He holds his mouth in shock. He realizes there's no way the villain used those flames. It was actually Katsuki, who he was trying to take over, who was fighting him, who caused all that smoke and fire. Because of me, All Might dropped him. Katsuki resisted with every fiber of his being. The Sludge would then begin to fling its massive arms around like a beast, as it had no choice but to do so to hold him as leverage to show that he was still dangerous. Damn it, stop moving! What the hell? Deku? Thinks Bakugo. As he pushes his way through the crowd, Deku darts for the villain. Despite the warnings of the heroes to avoid the flames, he would just run. He would try to attack the villain no matter what. He doesn't know why he's doing this. He clearly knows this isn't gonna work. Now, a quirk factor changes the very physiological and biological workings of a body. An example is Himiko Toga, whose quirk seems to have allowed her to develop a love for blood and for all the hedonistic acts which should disgust most. She easily takes blood, drinks it, and treats life very casually. But the one thing which determines a quirk is the missing extra pinky toe joint. It means you have evolved past the point of needing it to function normally. Everyone knows that it is impossible to keep balance without your full pinky toe. It's very essential. Well, you need it if you're a normal person, but in this case, if you're Izuku Mydoria, very different. His quirk showed its validity through a different way, through his brain. And in this high tense moment, something just snaps. He grabs his backpack and with a spin, he throws it into the Sludge's eye as he takes a page from Conway Woods' moves on how to disarm villains. But the moment his backpack hits, suddenly it pulls back, nearly hitting his head as he ducks and rolls, and he is hit by that very same gust of wind he ignored before. But as he looks up, he sees a gaping hole in the body of the Sludge, which frees up Katsuki's torso. It would turn, swinging, asking what Izuku did, but the moment he reaches him, he just can't get close. It's like there's a wall between them. The heroes and everyone present take notice as the villain is now actively trying to strike and flails uncontrollably, throwing rubble about. Get hit, bastard! What the hell is your quirk? There's no way, thinks Bakugo. That bastard, he's been hiding it this whole time. Appearing right before the villain and child, however, All Might makes an appearance much to everyone's shock as he rips Bakugo from his grasp. It's All Might, thank God. I don't know why you asked me such a thing, young man. Maybe it's because you lacked courage or confidence in your power, but you inspired me today, so stand proud. With the powerful smash, he rips the villain and completely flattens him with excessive force and building a massive whirlwind that rises to the skies, finishing the villain in one fell swoop. The force of his punch was obviously so powerful that it changed the very weather, and rain began to fall. All are left in awe of his raw power as he stood once again taking the role of the symbol of justice. Izuku, meanwhile, looked at himself, his hands, his body. Suddenly, his eyes began to narrow, and slowly, a pupil began to distort, only a little bit, but a different color came through. They were blue now, but one of his eyes was blue. "Hey, you, what were you thinking?" As he looks up, he saw Death Arms, who turned silent for a moment when others approached, asking what was wrong, but they all also froze for a moment when they saw the boy. Izuku stands, suddenly apologizing with the bow, however. "I'm sorry I got in the way, but it was my fault, so I had to do something." "Your fault? What do you mean?" He then begins to explain what happened with him and All Might, and they actually feel kind of bad because he was the first victim and they just screamed at him. So they do scold him, but they apologize for not being there when he needed help the most. But they also compliment his quirk. But that's the thing, he tells them he doesn't remember having one. From afar, Bakugo glares at him and seethes with anger, thinking that he was tricked and completely ridiculed. In his mind, it means that Midoriya had a quirk this whole time, not unless it's very recent, which is literally impossible. At least, generally, it's impossible. Moments later, as the sun began to set, we see Izuku calling his mom and telling her about the incident while he was heading home. And she freaks out over the phone. "You're sure it wasn't something else?" Izuku looks at his hand and it begins to radiate a blue aura when the very floor then starts to tear and he just stops himself saying, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it was me. It's like your quirk, Mom. I attract things. Don't cry. I'm just so happy for you. Come home quick so we can celebrate, alright? Alright." As he hangs up, he tries to take this all in. But then he begins to feel a bit tired and buckles holding onto his head.
It's too much. What's going on? My eyes.
His other eye would just distort at that very moment, changing to blue as well. And as he closes them, suddenly the pain slowly goes away. He stands sweating, but yet he can still somehow literally see everything. If anything, he sees them better. It's bizarre, but he sees enough to notice Bakugo up ahead, coming over. "What the hell are you doing? I'm not worthy to look at, you useless Deku." "What? No, it just hurts right now." "Whatever. You didn't freaking do anything. You didn't save me. I don't owe you shit. You goddamn nerd. Stay the hell away from me. Got it?" He aggressively then starts leaving, and Deku's just like confused, like, "Bruh, what the hell? I saved your life." Anyway, he slowly opens his eyes and he notices these things in the air, luminous particles. He doesn't know what they are, but it's beautiful. He then picks up a present and turns, shouting All Might's name as he runs out of a corner. "Oh, it seems my surprise has been foiled." He transforms, becoming Small Might, freaking out Izuku, who asks if he's okay. Wiping the blood off, he says that he'll live, and he thanks Izuku, but he says that he was the reason that all of this happened to begin with. He feels bad. Deku's saying this. He feels bad that he made all this happen. "I'm quirkless." "Well, I was." "What do you mean? What do you mean you were you were quirkless?" He obviously doesn't know how to explain this, so he remarks that maybe the stress set off his ability. The hero is wide-eyed that could happen, as that is literally impossible. Late bloomers are a thing, but never to this degree. "How old are you, young Midoriya?" 14. "How did you know my name?" "I saw it in your notebook." Regardless of whether or not you had a quirk in that moment, I wasn't lying either. You did inspire me. Your spur-of-the-moment decision saved your friend. You can be a hero after all. His eyes water. Obviously, he can be a hero now because he has a quirk which is socially acceptable, but he still has a low chance since he just barely got it and he has no time to train. But hearing this being said to him, it's what he wanted to hear all these years from anybody, to believe in him. "Thank you." He feels pain in his eyes again and buckles. All Might catches him and gives him some sunglasses. "There you go. It's not much, but maybe it'll help hurt less." "It's fine. I think my body's just adjusting." "Thank you." Now, obviously, me saying that Deku just got his quirk and he's at a disadvantage is funny considering what he has, but he don't know what he got, so he about to be real surprised. Anyway, Quirk Hospital, Dr. Ujiko's office. Well, Midoriya Izuku. You don't give up, do you?" Nope. I'm glad to be back. Oh, and thank you for the glasses." Ujiko, my bad. Ujiko says it's thanks to someone from America sending him a little something. They're designed to intentionally avert your vision, basically making you blind on purpose. It's basically a super sleeping mask, but for you it's just a slight dial, I assume. And speaking of your eyes, you said you felt an overload of information? Yeah, and I had something I like to infrared vision, but it's like I could just see normally, and I could see these particles around me. For example, I can actually tell what your quirk is. It's very awesome. This surprises the doctor, who has a look of worry for a second, but composes himself quickly. That's amazing. Into Midoriya's mind we then go at that moment, as because he's so prone to mumbling, having the enhanced brain capacity comparable to a CPU now is something which comes naturally. He adapted very fast to having that. He looks calm now, more than he usually would, but in his head, all sorts of thoughts are running, which he cannot stop, and he's aware of it, which is insane. But in this way, he actually manages his stress better, because all the things he wants to say out loud, his brain just keeps computing over and over, but in a healthier way. Now we're gonna go to the next day. Wow, it's really true, huh? Look, even your eyes changed. While trying to avoid the gaze of his classmates, Deku is hounded in class as everyone wants to know what happened because he and Bakugo were on the news, and it's evident Izuku has changed, but his personality is still meek. But please leave me alone, I don't want to talk right now. Someone from the back then says his quirk must be weak anyway. I mean, come on, it's recent too. We had years with our quirks. He's still gonna fail the hero exams. People can't really disagree, but it's interesting regardless. However, they all clear the way when Bakugo walks towards Deku and slams his hand on his desk. This obviously startles Deku. What is it? Your quirk? Tell me! They named it Limitless. You suggested that shit, didn't you? You bastard! You think you're... What are you... He was trying to grab his collar like usual to make fun of him, to threaten him, or lack thereof, especially in this case. But though his hand was close, it just wouldn't touch his clothes no matter how much he pushed, and everyone watched on completely flabbergasted and with nervous sweats. This is when Deku pulls down his glasses. It's like Tortoise and the Achilles story, you know? Bakugo's expression changes as he's smarter than he looks. He understands what this might indicate, but everyone else is confused, and so Deku explains that he brings the concept of infinity to reality, creating an infinite space between he and any target. You're not stopping, but the faster you approach, the slower you become infinitely, to the point where it looks like you stopped. Everyone then erupts asking the same question. What? Because they understood basically nothing, but he sounds incredibly broken. With such a power, fuck training, he sounds like he was blessed by God. This enraged the young Katsuki, who started going back to his seat. This isn't over. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Damn it! After school, Deku leaves and heads to the Goba beach, where he sees in the mound of trash All Might sitting atop a fridge. He runs down saying hello. All Might quickly takes notice of how down he is. What happened? Well, I have a quirk now. It's what I've always wanted. I'm grateful. But I'm still just me. I'm such a coward. Alright then, young Midoriya. If you really feel that way, let's change you. Break down the old you and remake a new and stronger you. One so strong you won't even recognize him. And it all starts here. He tells him that he will clean this beach only using his body, and then they'll train his quirk on the side. 10 months. 10 months of brutal training take place as Izuku, spurred on by his new confidence with his power and pride in himself, would get stronger and stronger at unprecedented rates. He gains way more muscle mass in this version. Izuku Mydoria, 15 years old, quirk, Limitless. It is emitter and a mutation type. Mostly because, you know, the brain mutation, which they caught onto, obviously. Now, after these months have passed, walking into the UA grounds, Izuku, unlike everyone else, wears no scarves or anything to keep away the cold and just walks because he has infinity. When suddenly Bakugo is heard and he keeps telling him to move out of the way. Izuku does so and he lets him pass as he nervously says he hopes they both will do well on the test. Shut up. Got it. He just lets him go because he's still kind of a coward. Like, he don't know what he's really capable of yet. Don't worry. That time will soon come. Now, he doesn't trip in this version of events. His senses are way too alert. He literally cannot be like tripped by anything either, because infinity is always wrapped around him. So he doesn't meet Ochako early on in this version, unfortunately, but he goes to the auditorium. They listen to President Mike, and because he doesn't ramble out loud, he doesn't get called out by Ida, because again, he's just putting all those thoughts in his brain. Then they take the written exam, and he passes with flying colors, taking number 1 spot. Then they are driven to the site by a bus. 4 quadrants exist, and within those quadrants there are cities ready to be used, but it's a bit overwhelming. Overwhelmingly is the amount of money that UA possesses. It's insane that they're able to just make this shit casually, even though it's mostly Cementos doing the heavy lifting. Now, when they arrive, noticeably from the open gate, they get a view of the roaming robots that they're gonna face. Honestly though, they're mostly confident, because most of these kids have lived their whole lives with these quirks, and because they have some equipment set to help with it, and they know their limits, they don't really mind. Now, while he stretches, Izuku takes notice of this and slowly takes off his glasses, catching the attention of a few who mumble to others, and they would spectate, asking if he's a model, like they start talking about it. "I'm not," thinks Izuku. "Alright, focus." A voice suddenly rings out, however. It's President Mike. He tells them to go, but they all stand there completely confused because, well, it kind of came out of nowhere. But he screams at them, and he says there are no countdowns in battle. They finally run in, and just as they all split, above them they see Izuku appear in the air. Bakugo gains a nervous sweat as the boy holds his hand forward. Oh god, here we go. Ow. Pulled into the air, 3 2-pointers are crushed into one another, covered with an aura of blue, as Deku would land, and with a wave, he throws this towards a 3-pointer, destroying it. But he doesn't stop, and in a blink, appears before the 2-pointer, who was miles ahead of him, holding his hand to its torso. It is sent flying, but a massive boulder then crashes into it, destroying it. From behind, a 3-pointer swings, but upon reaching his head, it stops, unable to go forward, as Deku would then turn, and with a simple gaze, he crushes the machine into a ball the size of a baseball. While everyone is getting their own points, they're extremely flabbergasted by his skill, and it makes Katsuki rage, obviously, so he starts trying even harder. And Ida, upon taking notice of Midoriya's movement, says that it's comparable to his. Well, he's not sure. He may be even faster. He is. Now, his foot crushes a 3-pointer. When past him, a lamppost is ripped out, and it falls into the hands of Deku, who uses it to bash into a 1-pointer. Right now, he's not even worrying about what might go wrong. He is scared of hurting people, but he has the 6 eyes, and he always sees everything. Aka. Holding his pointer finger forward, he converges a red ball, which begins to repel anything nearby before it is even fired. And upon firing, not only does it take out multiple robots, but it shatters windows for 3 blocks straight. Everyone holds their ears in pain. 5 minutes remain, kids. 5 minutes. Damn, that kid cleans up nice. Agreed. Right, Aizawa? Speaking into his mic, he talks to Eraserhead, who is watching with the other teachers from the monitor room, and they all agree that Izuku is, in simple words, a complete beast. Of course. And, they see other people's potentials, but he just seems unstoppable. Decision makers, natural born warriors, intelligent gatherers, mobility experts. Even if any one of them has these attributes, they'll all show their own colors soon before we know it, says Nezu. We just need to put them in the right direction. His hand would then quiver over a massive red button, and as 7 minutes pass, he presses it and releases onto everyone the 0-pointer. Everyone sprints from the machine as the mere step of it crushes the pavement below their feet and caves in their paths. Ida runs by and he would see Izuku, and he expects him to be running away, but instead he just stares at this robot. And he's smiling? Is he insane? All Might would share this smile as he would cross his arms, interested. He wants to see what Izuku will do, because he knows what he did when he took this exam. So he's wondering if he had the same idea that he had when he was a kid. Izuku plans on challenging this thing, of course, as you can tell, but then he sees Ochako Uraraka. She's trapped under rubble. His priorities would switch instantly. He doesn't panic as he's already freaked out for 10 seconds straight in his mind, and in the outside world, only an instant passed. With a leap, he leaves behind a blur as he appears right before the 0-pointer. He clenches his butt and lets his heart cry out like he was told, and strikes, not only destroying, but sending the robot flying into the air. By the way, that clenching the butt thing, that was All Might's line. Don't blame me, I'm just copying the manga. Now, the mere pressure shreds his tracksuit completely off, only leaving a tank top underneath. Jaws drop to the floor as the zero pointer craters back to the floor, and Izuku begins to fall, looking at his arm. Okay, it doesn't hurt like before. Good. One for all output, 50%. He did that casually, by the way. I just want you to know that. But the way he does it is not the way you think. Now, he lands safely and walks to Uraraka, who sees the rocks on her begin to be pulled to Deku and then be dropped. You okay? As she tries to get up, Uraraka takes notice of an injury on her leg. Deku will kneel down, healing her. Now, while Gojo himself wouldn't be able to heal others, the very nature of Izuku guarantees this is possible, as he's very self-sacrificial and he just needs to help people. It's kind of ingrained in him. So of course it makes sense he can heal others and himself, unlike Gojo, because Gojo is a very self-centered person, as nice as he might be to people he cares about. Uraraka stands completely fine now, and thanks Deku, who freaks out and puts his glasses back on. It's no problem. Obviously, seeing someone do what he did is insane to everyone. He doesn't even seem human at this point, and as he walks with Uraraka, he averts the gaze from everyone. He tries not to talk to any of them, but he does try to talk to her. She makes it very easy, luckily, and for the first time in his life, aside from his mother, Izuku talked to a girl. Kind of. Now, as the day came to an end, Izuku went home and was confident he at least got into UA, but he didn't know what class. I kept relentlessly attacking. How did I do? He asks All Might this over the phone, and suddenly, the hero begins to laugh, and just laugh more. My boy, you ought to give yourself more credit. I don't know what anyone else thought of while watching you, but you seem to me a completely unstoppable force. To hear this is quite surprising, as he's not used to the stares and attention. He thought people were actually making fun of him. Somehow, in his brain, that made sense, but he's been bullied for 15 years, give him a break. But it's nice, you know? He talks a little bit more, and then cuts the call with All Might, and then he just lays back in his bed, closing his eyes. I'm really gonna do it. I'm gonna become a hero. When spring eventually came, stepping before the door of the prodigious 1-8 class, Izuku opens the door, as some would pass a glance but end up staring when they see a black blindfold being worn by the student. Izuku sees Ida and Bakugo arguing clear as day, even though he should be blind, and he would quietly make his way in, avoiding hitting any desks like he was just completely fine and just sitting down. Hey, can you see through that? Asked Kirishima. Huh? Oh, sorry. Is it weird? Nah, it's cool, man. I just thought you were gonna trip. Kaminari cuts in asking how his quirk works with that, and Izuku says right now he can see them all through some sort of infrared vision. So high level that it seems like he's just seeing normally. And then he lifted the blindfold, showing his eyes, and stuns them all, while Bakugo scoffs and finally puts his foot down and stops arguing with Ida. Ida would push up his glasses, and he walks to Izuku, who puts down the fold. Well, he puts the fold back up, my bad. He covers his eyes again. It's always active, so I'm using it 24/7 without realizing it. It hurts a bit. Oh, hi. I'm Tenya Ida. Sounds like a tough quirk. As they shake hands, he thanks him for the consideration, as Ida also says that he understood the true meaning of the test and is a better student than he. Oh, I didn't figure out anything. I just didn't want Ochako. Oh, Ochako. As she enters the class, she takes notice of him too and walks over to say hi. And while they're trying to catch up, into the classroom arrives Aizawa as he drives along his sleeping bag this version because, well, full disclosure, when you have someone like Izuku in your class, it is not a good idea to walk in the way that he walked in the beginning. It wasn't even a walk in. He's being a bit more serious, and immediately he says, "Get to your seats." Those standing quickly do so. Aizawa goes to the podium. 8 seconds, not bad. But you guys have more to learn. What are your locker rooms? You'll find these. He brings out a gym uniform and says to go, but Ochako asks about orientation. He just reiterates to go because his class ain't doing that shit. They have to actually get to work. They head to the locker rooms, change, and then come out, seeing Aizawa waiting for them with a tablet in hand. Alright, before we begin, Midoriya. Yes? You are not allowed to use your infinity in case I must disable your quirk. I'll need some leeway. Disable his quirk. Infinity? Also here. He throws him a ball and asks him how long he could throw in junior high. 40 meters. Ha! Weak, shouts Bakugo. Hey, that was rude, man. Hey, what's up with you? You've been causing trouble since the moment you got here. Izuku just lets this roll off his back, and Aizawa tells him to use his quirk this time. This is just to show a demonstration of what's to come. Now, this interests everyone, as they weren't really allowed to use their quirks throughout their, lives. He steps into the circle, and slowly, as he breathes in, he explodes with cursed energy, with enough force to make everyone lower their center of balance as to not be pushed back. 1, 2, 3, stop. Instantly, the rippling comes to a stop as he turns to Aizawa, whose eyes are red and his hair is rising. Instantly, the rippling stops as he turns to Aizawa, whose eyes are red and his hair is rising. My quirk. It didn't work, he thinks. He's still radiating that energy. Sorry, did I do something wrong? As his hair lowers, Aizawa says to pull down the blindfold and use his full power. From what I see, your power and potential will be hard to quantify, so never hold back in this class. Also, it seems that I cannot interfere with your quirk, so pay heed to my words. Got it. At this point is when everyone realizes that this hero is Eraserhead, and if he can't stop Izuku's quirk, that honestly makes him more formidable. Like about 70% of hero society or people who use quirks can be stopped by Aizawa, unless they're heteromorphs who are kind of rare and ostracized. So this is insane. However, they didn't think him pulling down his blindfold would make much of a difference. They were very, very wrong. Aka. Releasing his cursed energy with the acute accuracy of his 6 eyes helping him out, he breaks the sound barrier and sends the ball flying as he swings. How was that? Oh, sorry. He turns, seeing everyone on the ground, and Bakugo forcefully stands, telling him to watch it. Uraraka mentions how pretty his eyes are at that moment, and he hides them embarrassed before walking back, a bit nervous obviously. However, everyone tells him how awesome that was, and Aizawa doesn't say that he agrees, but he shows how far it went. Obviously, he can't show favoritism. It was amazing, no lie, but he can't say nothing. He just shows the results. It went over 5 miles with ease. But more importantly, now they get to all use their quirks freely. They're excited, and so is Izuku. Not forgetting to use his quirk because he just got it. Obviously, he's still using it. But to be part of a group, because for once, people weren't trying to, make fun of him. They were trying to catch up to him. It felt weird, but great. Now, Aizawa had to go and ruin this with his little ruse, but that's not stopping them from trying their absolute best. If anything, it makes them try even harder now. I'll start with the 50-meter dash. Bakugo and Izuku stay quiet, both looking at the finish line because they're partnered up for this one. And as each approach, the starting point, get ready. When they're told to go, Bakugo blasts forward using explosions. Yeah, how do you like that? Huh? He looks back to mock him, but Deku is gone. Confused, he looks forward and sees Deku arriving at the finish line already. Deku barely stops himself right before Aizawa hitting him with sand. Sorry. Bakugo arrives at 4.73 seconds. He stares in a daze, unable to comprehend this moment. It shouldn't be possible. That nerd, he's faster than me? He's faster? Whilst he's freaking out on the inside, Deku runs over asking if he's okay. Bakugo snaps. Get the hell away from me! He swings, throwing an explosion point blank, much to the shock of everyone. Some of the boys quickly go to restrain him, and from the smoke, Izuku walks out unscathed and looks on scared. I was just checking to see if you were okay. Sorry. Enough. Walking in between them, Aizawa says whatever this is, Deku and Bakugo need to stop talking until they can solve it. And you, Midoriya, Katsuki clearly gets agitated in your presence. You aren't going to solve this by trying to interact. Stop talking to him. Yes, sir. Sorry. He walks and leaves Bakugo alone, while Aizawa says if he does something like that ever again, he will be expelled, no matter how talented he might be. Everyone's a bit agitated, but Aizawa doesn't really care. He makes them move on. For the third event, they go inside a gym and are given grip machines. They may use their quirks or just physical strength, doesn't matter. It's not much of an option for most, but with the clench of his fist, Deku shatters his machine, much to his own surprise. He panics and tries to clean it up while everyone finds it hard to believe that he's the person he is. He's a bit meek despite being so strong, huh? Yeah, but people like that are cocky, you know? You mean like Gautsuki? I heard that. And, asked Kaminari, you literally tried to attack someone a few minutes ago. You're not off the hook yet, man. Whatever. See? Deku, meanwhile, is more surprised by how easily Bakugo is being put in his place. People in Bakugo's old school were kind of bitches, so he really is surprised. And it makes him realize this really isn't the same environment anymore. People here really are confident about themselves like that, and they're not just gonna let Bakugo of all people walk all over them. Now everyone gets the same scores they would have, except for Deku, of course. And for the third event, the standing long jump, this also has two people facing one another, and coincidentally, Deku and Bakugo are put together again. I thought you said we weren't allowed to be near each other, shouts Bakugo. Yeah, I said stop talking too. It's impossible for you to not be near each other. Get over it and jump. Looking back forward with an angry scream, Bakugo leaps using explosions and catapults forward, as does Deku, but he is unable to control his output and blasts past the end of the box and digs his feet into the ground in an attempt to stop himself until he finally does. Dang it. Running to him, Ida and Ochako ask if he's okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Well, I'm not proud to say this, but I only got my quirk last year, so I'm still learning. So sorry. The two look at one another and erupt in complete shock, catching everyone's attention. What, he broke something? Asks Aizawa. Sensei, you didn't tell us Midoriya only got his quirk recently, shouts Ida. He did? How the hell? It wasn't my information to share, but yes. Midoriya got his quirk about 10 months ago due to an incident. The high-stress situation activated his metahuman gene. Now get back here and stop disrupting everyone. Oh, sorry. Our bad. It's just a lot to take in. This makes Deku sound even more broken because he has yet to even really gotten used to his power, but he uses it flawlessly somehow. Well, with a bit of clumsiness. Now, the next event is the side steps and then throwing, and everyone else had to go and throw as well. Afterwards, the results were shown, putting Deku at the top and showing everyone that, well, everything was a ruse. It was extremely relieving and also really annoying that he would go that far just to test them. Goes to show how much he just doesn't give a damn. Then everyone goes home, and Deku has gotten 2 new friends, something he's never had before, this being Ida and Uraraka, and they're just starting to get to know each other. Now, the next day when everyone returns, everything is quite the same, minus heroes being their teachers now, and the curriculum is still the same as normal high school. But afternoon classes was something that really mattered here because it was reserved for hero training. The entrance of the hero riles up everyone, including Deku, who is happy his mentor is actually teaching here. My training will be one of battle, shouts All Might, and for that, we'll need good gear. Using a remote, he takes out from the wall to their left some suitcases containing their hero costumes. Now they can really dress like heroes, and Bakugo can prove that he is nothing but a pebble in my path. That's all you are, Deku. He thinks this to himself to hype himself up to give himself more energy. Honestly, subconsciously, he won't admit it, but he knows that fighting Deku right now, terrible idea. Like, truly. So after suiting up, everyone would go, follow instructions to ground beta and come out looking great. Izuku, however, is a bit late as he would run out wearing something extremely basic by his own notion. Just a black jacket, black pants, like the Gojo that complements his black blindfold mask that he was given from the Quirk Hospital. He was gonna try to look like All Might, but when one of your caliber, like someone like you, has the 6 eyes, you don't really need headgear. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have infinity. Also, he realized that it looked goofy as fuck. Like, seriously, why the hell did he think that was cool? Anyway, Uraraka says, wow, that's nice and simple. I like it. Thanks, my mom made it for me. Now, in a flashback to a few weeks ago, we see Inko walk into Deku's room. Izuku, he fell asleep at the desk. She walks over and sits him straight, seeing his open notebook, and takes a look at the same design that he would wear, later, currently. And the next day after she saw it, she surprised him with that very same costume. I know it's not much, but with everything that's been going on, I can't even imagine how it must have been for you. So I'll be supporting you with everything I've got. I give up on you once, and I'm not doing that again. Now put it on. Thanks, Mom. Returning to present time, we see Deku clench his fists, and he remarks that his suit holds his mother's love, so he'll have to really have a bit more confidence in himself. Even she now believes in him, and he's never felt better. Now, All Might explains what kind of scenario they're working off of. They'll be playing heroes and villains. He lets them draw lots. You know how it goes. It just so happens that Bakugo got what he wanted. He would be facing Deku. But when he turned to show his happiness, he was shaking as he held that ball in his hand, and Deku didn't freak out a single time while they were making straight eye contact. Well, you know, Deku can see him with the blindfold on, but you get what I mean. And he wonders to himself, don't tell me I'm scared of him. Him? Moments later, at ground beta, we see the target building where the heroes would enter through. This is where obviously things are taking place, and below it is the monitoring room where everyone will be watching everything play out. There obviously is no sound, only video, so that's just use your imagination for whatever Akatsuki is gonna yell, because he will yell something. So as they enter, Ochako asks, isn't he the one that bullies you? As they walk up to the second floor, he stays quiet for a bit before asking, am I an idiot? What? Kachan's hating me for some reason. I don't know. Ever since he got his quirk, but I keep making excuses for him. That's how it feels. Well, I'm not gonna say that you're stupid, but you're being too forgiving. You don't deserve to keep making excuses for someone like that just because you did something he didn't even explain, and nothing warrants going after your own friend like that. That's just scummy. Friends don't do that to each other. Thanks, Uraraka. Deku! Running out from a corner, Akatsuki shows himself, startling Ochako, but Izuku doesn't even flinch as they are blasted and the flames would fill the halls. Everyone in the CCTV room reacts with shock, wondering if they're okay, but All Might reassures them that they're fine. He's tougher than he looks. What do you mean? Come on, explain. Don't leave us hanging. I mean, come on, Sensei. There's no way he just didn't take any damage from that. Sorry, Midoriya himself wanted to keep some parts of his quirk secret. Please do understand. He's not used to so much attention. They give up on the idea at the mention of this, and Zero says, oh yeah, it's kinda hard to believe he was a normal dude not that long ago. Now returning to the fight, Bakugo swings at the smoke as slowly Izuku and Uraraka are revealed unscathed, and Deku in an instant moves, hammering his fist into Bakugo's face before kneeing him in the stomach. He bounces into the ceiling right as Uraraka runs past. Good luck, you too. Deku, you little insect! As he falls, he fires another explosion, but it is instantly blown away as a shining red sphere with fire forcing his body back into the ceiling and momentarily leaves his body immovable. He falls but is then caught before dodging an explosion swing. Deku dodges an explosive swing, and he continues to avoid each and every attack, every punch imbued with explosions. So how fun was it? Laughing behind my back, huh? Deku doesn't say anything, only countering his words with another pulse of red, which throws Bakugo down the hall. This time he catches himself though, and shouts that Deku should take him seriously. You're not better than me. You hear me? Why do you hate me so much? I didn't even do anything to you. Because you're just some useless bastard who thought he could keep up with me. I hate that about you. Stay in your lane. Deku at that moment is reminded of when he tried to help Katsuki from that river he fell into. They were just kids when this happened. It was just an accident. Even as great as Bakugo was, or he thought he was still human, mistakes, and he was a kid. And that look that he showed him resembles the same one that he wears currently, the one that he is being forced to deal with for some reason. And Deku realizes something. Just then, Ida calls Bakugo. Hey, Katsuki, are you still conscious? The hell do you mean conscious? Watch me wreck this bastard. As he cuts communication, everyone back at the monitor room began strategizing about how they would beat Midoriya's ability. How is that even a quirk anymore? Asked Mineta. He's unbeatable. Todoroki says no. The best strategy is to tire him out. Momo agrees. First, you'd have to remove his blindfold. He clearly cannot overuse his eyes. Oh, like his eyes are too good and he needs to restrain them. Exactly. The irony of this all is that they couldn't touch him if they wanted to, but they don't know about Infinity, and All Might doesn't say anything still. He wants to keep it a secret because Deku wanted it kept a secret. Bakugo goes right back at it and keeps close and personal since he was always a better fighter, but no matter what he tried, it just wouldn't hit. Jumping back, Bakugo then asks, You afraid of me, huh? Why do you keep avoiding my attacks? Most people would avoid explosions, Kachan. The only reason I'm not using my powers is because you won't be able to handle it. What? Say that again? Balling up his hand, Izuku says that he hadn't used his true power at this entire time and began to radiate cursed energy. I've been using the wrong approach this entire time. I've been a terrible friend. We're not friends. Today I kill you and let you know your place. Exactly my point. We grew up together, so I know more than anyone how much pressure you had on you. But it's not an excuse. Grabbing the pin on his grenade, Bakugo pulls it, shouting for him to shut up, as the halls would fill with flame entirely, but it is instantly split as Deku appears before him and strikes him in the stomach. Oh. Pulled into the blow, Katsuki feels as if his ribcage just wrapped around Midoriya's fist, and then he's launched all the way down the end of the hall, barfing up his lunch as he hits the wall, and in that instant, his brain not only rattles, his body becomes shocked so much that it basically paralyzes itself.
It wasn't... Try... Deku... That's bullshit.
He falls out cold as everyone holds their mouth in disgust and also empathy because they would not like to take on such a hit. As he gathers his breath, Izuku holds up a finger to the sky, seemingly about to flick it. One for all. Air Force Strike. Through Deku's body runs the seemingly unending energy which One for All offers, and his 6 eyes can see such energy and manipulate it. His eyes allow him to completely understand the power at its core without anyone even explaining it to him. He feels the souls compounded into it, and he's been detecting him since the moment he got the quirk. And he is smart enough to apply what he's learned and what he's experimented with. With the flick, he fires a condensed blast of air which blows through level after level, never losing any momentum or power, reaching Uraraka and Ida, who are thrown into the air. "Midoriya!" shouts Ida. Suddenly, the rocks that were all thrown smash into him and are thrown aside while he's still in there, and a shout from Deku is heard from below. "Run for it!" "Huh? Thanks!" Making herself weightless, she jumps off one of the floating rubbles and would reach the bomb, which she touches and just hugs. "Safe! We did it!" "Hero team wins," says All Might. As the rubble falls down below, Izuku walks, stopping it from hitting him, and he grabs Bakugo and puts him over his own shoulder. "It's alright, Kachan. I'll do it for you. If I have to, I'll change from the Deku you knew because now I know I'm strong. Since I beat the person I've been chasing all these years." With this win, Bakugo is put into the school hospital and healed. The trial is talked about with the students as they discuss what they could have done better, specifically what Deku could have done better and so on. After the school day, Deku doesn't go meet Bakugo. He has seen a different perspective now, that he's strong and that he's recognized he's strong. He's acknowledged that Bakugo didn't deserve his kindness, but he's also the same Deku, and he will be a bit tougher on his childhood friend from now on. But it's because he cares, though that is slowly turning from care into just straight up hate because, well, he's strong now, so he don't gotta put up with that bullshit. Anyway, we'll find out about that later. Now, skipping the day that came after, we follow the UA class to a trip to the U.S.J. because I don't really like covering the little art that happened beforehand. I really don't care. Ida becomes class president. Now, on the way, while they're on the bus, they keep talking about their quirks, and Bakugo is being a bit sour. Kirishima, meanwhile, said he wished he had a flashy quirk like Katsuki, Todoroki, or Deku. I mean, I can just harden, that's about it. Mina reassures him that he's pretty cool in his own way, and he is. Kirishima is the man, but Deku offers another perspective, saying, well, we can train together if that's fine with you. I think we'd uncover some pretty cool things. Wait, for real? Hell yes! Thanks, Midoriya. Don't go too hard on me now. No problem. I think you're being too hard on yourself. Actually, Midoriya, can I ask? Your eyes, what do they look like? Asked Hagakure. Can we see them? Oh, sure. Grabbing the blindfold, he pulls it down, and all who meet his gaze freeze in stupor. Pull them back up. Pull them back up. I've seen an angel. Why are they so beautiful? Why? Deku would put it back down, chuckling. Come on, they're not that cool. I don't think you realize how dangerous those eyes are, says Mineta. As the ride continues, they arrive at the U.S.J. There, after they get off, the amount of things surrounding them is a bit overwhelming. There is a massive forest inside, a massive landslide, a bunch of hills, cities, all laid out to help them train. And 13, the space hero, comes to accommodate them. Uraraka freaks out, of course, because it's one of her favorite heroes, and Deku's also a pretty big fan. I can't believe she's really here, he thinks. Alright, welcome. I designed this place to have you guys actually experience, rescues and dangers and such. And also, you get to understand how dangerous her quirks can be. This changes the mood a bit, but if anything, to be treated like this is better than being lied to. But she's not here to talk about some dark side of quirks, though there is a dark side to quirks, but to see a way they can instead use them for good despite their dangerous effects. This deserves a clap from the class because it's a pretty good speech. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but she's pretty inspiring. But then this is when things really kick off. When Aizawa was preparing to introduce their plans for the day, in the corner of his eye, he finds something murky. On reflex, he turns into a defensive stance as a portal unravels down below, and through it, villains begin to run out. For a while, the kids thought that these were fake villains, but Izuku says, "No, they're the real thing." While everyone wonders how they got in, Izuku I'm gonna say this very bizarrely. Izuku acts very out of character and asks, "Sensei, do you want help cleaning them up?" Everyone looks at him almost like he's crazy, but for him, of course, it'd be nothing, and Todoroki actually agrees. But Aizawa says that he'll handle it and tells the likes of Kaminari to put their quirks to use, since 13 says that she can't call anyone. And then he jumps down the steps and starts mopping the floor with the villains. Now, at the head of this gigantic army of villains, we find the man Shigaraki as he scratches his neck, asking why All Might is nowhere to be found. "Our info said he will be present," says Kurogiri. "Maybe he'll act if we kill his students then." He fixates on the kids above, but the moment he looks up there, he feels a terrifying gaze set upon him as we pan to Izuku, who thinks to himself how crazy it is that he can see so far ahead with ease. He then slowly looks around as everyone is about to evacuate and says, "He's coming." Just then, Kurogiri manifests before them all and they stop in their tracks as he introduces he and his whole group present here and says they will not be going anywhere. He slowly lets his dark mist surround them, when Deku then runs in front of the class, pulling down his blindfold whilst he clenches his fist. "Don't touch my classmates!" Suddenly, the villain's darkness is torn away, with Kurogiri's metal component of his costume being torn off as well. As he raises his hand to the sky, he swings down and the villain crashes into the dome ceiling. Windows shatter and the ground quakes. "Bit brutal, but necessary," said 13. "Everybody run." Deku, however, says that they can't do that because there's a stronger enemy down there. He walks to the edge of the steps, past everyone, and points at the Nomu. "How can you see that far? You're wearing a blindfold," shouts Bakugo. "That's really not the main issue here." "Nomu, kill those brats." As this is shouted, a blood-curdling scream is heard as a massive explosion occurs at the top of the steps. Aizawa turns mid-battle and shows a look of worry, which then slowly disappears. "Yeah, I figured as much from that boy." Striking against the infinity, the Nomu shatters the ground and pushes everyone back, but though he pushes and pushes, Izuku easily holds him off and tells everyone it's now or never. At this point, 13 says, "You know what, screw it," letting everyone who feels confident in a fight to go down there. This means those like Mina are excluded. Yes, I know she can use acid, but she doesn't want to kill anybody. She's 15. She could easily do that though. Now, Kota, Uraraka, Aoyama, those who don't feel confident like them stay behind. The Nomu's punch then finally slips through as Deku then grabs his arm and sinks his fist into its chest. "One for all." The creature is sent flying as we find a giant hole where its heart would be, and it regenerates when from behind it's bounced back. We see Izuku upside down. "Those are pretty stacked quirks you got there. That's why I can't let you stay." As it slowly turns, the Nomu is blinded by a bright light, and it is hit right in the face by a red. While down below, everyone goes ham. Todoroki and Bakugo use everything they have, as does Tokoyami and a running Ida. This lets Bakugo vent his frustrations, and most importantly gives Kirishima some confidence because Todoroki is present, so he can keep punching while he has his back covered. Now all the way in the back, Mineta traps villains in place and allows for Ojiro, for instance, to knock them out with his tail. But while they're actually winning, A sudden explosion occurs as from the dust, Izuku walks out dragging the carcass of the Nomu, missing his lower half, and he throws it right before Shigaraki, who stumbles back, shocked.
Who are you? Who are you?
Izuku doesn't answer and instead raises his left arm as he radiates a blue aura, and suddenly, all leftover villains are aggressively pulled into one another above him and are massively concussed while being held in the air by just a freshman high schooler. Is it just me or does Midoriya turn into a different person when he's fighting? Asks Mineta. Kaminari says, it's just you. Yeah, it gotta be.
Cool, just asking. You can do something like that now? I just keep falling behind, thinks Bakugo.
I just finally became able to make friends, and you're not scaring them away, says Izuku. Though they hide it well, none of them like this, of course. The kids don't. It's not fun, and some of them were about to break into tears, and it made Izuku boil with rage as, with a wave, he threw the villains away. They crash elsewhere, and he walks to Shigaraki and kneels down, pulling down his blindfold. This is it for you. Moments later, when the villains are seen being detained, teachers from UA were dispatched to come here. They saw what happened. However, they were shocked to see that the kids had handled everything pretty well. Then they spread out to search for leftover villains, some of which showed themselves as they tried to escape, and also Izuku can see them and sense them. So he's followed by Snipe and Ectoplasm through the forest area as part of the search team. Can you seriously see with that blindfold? Asked Snipe.
Yeah, think of it like a super clear infrared vision.
Wait. As he stops, they do so as well, and he turns his head left, causing trees to tear from the ground, slamming into the villain, who screams as he was finally noticed.
He's alive, yes? Asked Ectoplasm.
Yeah, his heart's still beating.
How can you...
Never mind, stay here, we'll secure him. As they run for the villain, Izuku is left to think again. He actually didn't even need to lift a hand to take out that guy. The way it was so easy, and the fact that he can feel so much calmer than usual. Is it because of the 6 eyes, or because my brain's chemistry changed so much since that day?
That's so awesome!
After the villains are cleared, the kids are given a day off for investigation purposes. So, on his day off, Izuku takes time to practice like he always does, and goes with simple glasses that he ordered from UA. They serve the same effect as the blindfold, just a little bit less, so he could still use his eyes to a little bit more of, a better way, better percentage of power. Now, as the Goba welcomes him for another training session, he gets passing glance from civilians who wonder who he was until they saw him floating. Now, upon seeing this, they're like, nope, not my problem. They walk away. This kid's doing some dangerous shit. Now, let's review a bit. The power to stop, the power to attract, and the power to repel. As he thinks this, he focuses, and he realizes that when he focuses enough, I can choose my targets and it doesn't change my surroundings if I pinpoint it with the 6 eyes. This only gets more accurate. He then drops as he turns and points, creating a vacuum somewhere random in space. The attraction of this vacuum, however, only has himself as a target, and he begins to be pulled slowly through the sand. This seems to be going well, so he wonders what would happen if he put some one for all in there. Just a 5% drop from his second quirk pulls him over in a blink. Actually, no, it felt like he just appeared there. He didn't even feel any whiplash. Did I just teleport? He deactivates the technique and looks up, appearing right where he was looking, and as he looked elsewhere, he appeared there as well. And pretty soon, he left behind after images in the air with his incredible speed as he was going back and forth. Then suddenly, he's called out to. He stops in the air and looks to the railing, seeing All Might in his weakened form, as he waves at him, and in response, he teleports behind him, almost falling, but catching himself. Hi, still getting the hang of it. All Might turns to him, surprised, as he inquires about what he just experienced, what he just saw.
That wasn't just speed, was it?
Short range teleport. Well, for now, after I work out some kinks, I can start doing long range.
You know, most people will be sleeping right now, and it's 5 in the morning. What are you working on, aside from long range teleportation?
Izuku brightens up as he goes on a rant that All Might can't help but find adorable. And honestly, seeing this kid happy at all is a good thing. Izuku's been through a lot. I'm happy for my boy. That's why I made him OP. Now, the next day when they return, Aizawa informs them, "You'll be attending a festival in the next 2 weeks." Yes, 2 weeks. Already? Damn, everything moves so fast around here. Concerns are brought up about whether they should even be doing stuff like a festival right now. And Kirishima brings it up for the sanity of the school, but you know, they also have a lot of pride. Most scary thing is that, you know, villains could attack again. All you need to worry about is getting yourselves out there. You must let people know your capabilities. Our battle has only just begun. The day continues, and 2 classes later, one day will be getting sort of excited now that it's sunk in what the future entails.
Dude, we're gonna be on live TV, said Kaminari.
Jiro follows up with words of worry, but even under that, even an introvert like her is kinda excited. Ochako is by far the most reactive, and she keeps shouting with motivation, which kind of freaks everyone out, but hey, it's good to be ambitious. Now, while she continues her self-motivated talk, everyone just tries to be supportive. For some reason, she's like super excited. It's about the money, obviously. Ida and Midoriya later find out about this, but they don't chastise her for it. Everyone's gotta eat, you know? You need that money. And it would have all ended well, but before they left school, 1A is blocked off by a group of students. Katsuki, being who he is, immediately crashes out, calling them extras.
Katsuki, such foul language is unneeded, says Ida.
Midoriya, while trying to, you know, stay, you know, unnoticed, kind of hide, he would try to make his way through the crowd. But then he saw, before he even, you know, made his way forward, that there was this guy with purple hair who had an expression of melancholy. He marches his way forward and calls out Katsuki for his foul mouth and attitude.
Is everyone in UA as rude as you?
Katsuki remains quiet after this comment, and it kind of scares the class. But that's because he was thinking of his words, his next words, very
Okay, if you don't step aside, I swear to God, I'll fucking make you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you want. I gotta train to actually beat someone worth my time. And if we don't agree on that, then we can agree to beat the shit out of each other.
Immediately, everyone clears a path, and silently, Katsuki marches through, looking back at Midoriya one more time.
Look forward to it, bastard.
Everyone looks at Midoriya, who hangs on his words nervously. Not for himself, but for Katsuki, because he not gonna hold back. He's not gonna say that arrogantly, but like, he will I'm not gonna say that again. He will mess people up. Like, he knows what he's capable of. He got one for all, and he can control it perfectly. Katsuki is really trying his hardest over here to stay noticed. I'm making this man kill himself. Alright, back to the story. With the 2 weeks given, everyone gets to work. Stamina, strength, and of course, most importantly, quirk usage. Midoriya most of all gets to truly experiment, unlike everyone else. He is like an infant. He doesn't know his full limits yet, which is what makes him more terrifying. So he had to get very creative over these training sessions. Now we go to UA High Stadium. Civilians and heroes alike begin to gather in hordes in the man-made area. Made by who? Cementos. With he and many other heroes, of course. And the challenges for the day have also been thought up and made into reality. So everything in advance is set. The main stars of the show, meanwhile, are in their waiting rooms. And in this version of events, Todoroki doesn't approach Midoriya because he genuinely believes that they are equal in strength. Terrible idea.
I can't believe he got his quirk last year, he thought to himself. It doesn't make any sense. That steps out of the bounds of genius and right into monster. God, he's terrifying.
Just then, they are all called outside, so they stand. Midoriya quickly shifts from his glasses to his blindfold and would hurriedly run after his class. They are met by a flash of cameras and a crowd just there for them. The sheer number of people present, though, it's wild. The other classes aren't as thrilled though, because they're being used like an opening act, meaning they've been out here waiting for present might to build up to 1A, so they're not really happy right now. Anyway, Midnight will call everyone to the podium where she was. She calls forth the class representative at that point, Izuku Mydoria. As everyone makes way, Midoriya gathers his strength and goes onward. You got this, okay? And when he gets up there, Midnight tells him the same thing. You know, you got this. Don't freak out, because they know how he is, even though he OP. She gives him the stage, and already he has the public wondering about his identity. Wearing a blindfold unknowingly gave him an air of mystery. I don't really do speeches, but until recently, I also didn't think I would ever make it this far, so I'm just grateful, and I hope I win. It's not a provocative speech, it's not an impressive one, but he said the least alarming thing. Everyone clapped for him, but they're not really impressed or none, so they're kind of wondering if he's even really like that. He would then quickly excuse himself, but no matter how humble he is, none of the support classes are happy that he got to shine. Midnight quickly moves on and uses her roulette to spin and spin until she lands on the obstacle race. Alright, and if you'll turn your attention behind. The crowd of students begin to move back and see a gate slowly open, and they see a tunnel leading to a track. They're told clearly and simply what they have to do. Avoid some obstacles, but they will not be told what they are gonna hit until they hit it to make it more fun. They are then told to keep their eyes on the lights, the stoplights, which will blare an alarm when it's time to go, matching the color red, I believe. If I'm wrong, tell me. It's been a while since I've seen that episode. Now, they all gather very close to the tunnel, but because everyone is trying their best to get a good vantage point, they're kind of smushed together. Then they wait and wait and start, shouts President Mike. Midoriya takes his blindfold off and glares forward as the students would rush into the tunnel. Chaos ensues as the crowd would stomp their feet and cheer. However, an upset occurs when Midoriya appears right on the outside of the tunnel on the track. Whoa, whoa, shouts President Mike. Did he just appear there? With this next step, Midoriya tears the ground below and moves with the speed of a cheetah. He looks back and sees the tunnel flood with frost. Clearly, this is Todoroki's work. And just like that, Midoriya has taken first place, but oh wait, Todoroki takes second with a smart tactic. He's frozen everyone behind him in their tracks. Todoroki chases Midoriya on a trail of ice and reaches him. They move side by side, as Todoroki says that he won't let him win this. Just then, they find that their old friends from the entrance exams are in their way, this being the pointer robots. Well, 2-pointer, 3-pointers. Midoriya leaps and flips over one as he taps atop its head, and it is flattened. The remaining force strikes Todoroki's ice and he trips forward. Sorry. Don't apologize, says Todoroki. It makes it so much worse. President Mike then says that the others have gotten free. Well, some of them. And they are pissed. Most of all, Katsuki. He charges with the rage of an exploding sun. Get your ass back here, Deku. Very soon, everyone is gunning for the finish line. Midoriya, being far ahead, was already nearing the army of massive zero-pointers. President Mike focuses on him for the moment, describing the situation and saying that it wasn't going to be very easy to handle. Well, what will he do, folks? Midoriya responds with his answer right then, as he would leap. Like a speeding rocket, he pierces through the head of a zero-pointer. An explosion of electricity and flames occur as he would hold his hands forward. Oh. A ball of blue converges and it forms in between the machines and begins to pull them in as they struggle to resist, only to be smashed into one another so hard that they begin to break. One of them begins to fall forward onto the track and the approaching students would see it. Deku, however, isn't worried as he has calculated that Todoroki would be able to respond. And he does, raising an iceberg which flash freezes all the zero-pointers while he blinds everyone and gains the lead ahead of everyone else but Deku again. Woo! Yeah, this just gets better and better, ladies and gentlemen. Midoriya doesn't care. He's just bulldozing through this thing. You didn't tell me how a student this crazy. He looks to Aizawa, who was going to be his commenter on this. And Aizawa just says, rude. Midoriya agrees that was very rude, but that move was kind of crazy. However, he only needs to focus ahead. Then he reaches the fall, or the pit, I forgot what it's called, and he comes to a stop. Oh, looks like he finally took a breather, says President Mike. Looks like the Unstoppable has found What? In a split second, Midoriya appears on the other end, and the crowd explodes into cheers and laughter, because obviously he just cut off President Mike's whole thing. And, well, this really seemed kind of weird. He was meek before, or at least they thought he was. But damn, this kid is really unstoppable for real. Wait, so he did teleport? Maybe he controls space or something. He has to, because he smashed those robots like nothing, and well, they were just attracted to each other or something. Maybe he's like magnetic? While Deku continued on his path, Katsuki only got angrier because he was neck and neck with Todoroki and Tokoyami proved to be a bigger challenge than he thought. I remember your declarations, says Todoroki. What? You said you blew past Midoriya, correct? Well, don't think surpassing me will be easy. Why the hell would I care? I'll just destroy all of you. He sets off a massive explosion, propelling himself past both of them as he continues to move forward. However, he finds a crick in his shoulder and elbow. he can't go too fast. His body is beginning to feel the toll already. As for Midoriya, it's basically all finished for him, and at this point, once he reaches the Afghan Fall, crazy name by the way, he simply leaps over the mines and lands as he stares into the stadium and is teleported there in an instant. I made it. Midoriya has never experienced this on such a scale. It's bizarre to have so many people's eyes on him, but he responds in kind as he would awkwardly pump his fist. When others heard from Present Might that Midoriya had already won, some weren't happy, some were, but all they can do now is make it to the finish line as well. It is by this point that people begin to wonder what this kid's quirk is. Present Might has been mentioning everyone's quirk who was catching the attention of a lot of people, like Katsuki, Momo, and Todoroki. You know, everyone's been hearing about people's quirks throughout the race. And now, there's our winner, Izuku Mydoria. Quirk, Limitless. He creates points in the air and distorts space itself to pull things or repel them. And those eyes of his can see more than you think. So much so that he gotta wear a blindfold cause they're too good. Wait, then how was he teleporting? Oh, this kid's awesome. I mean, he's kinda meek, but still. He very quickly gains fans all over the world as people begin to chant his name in the stadium and even overseas and in his very own Japan, you know, again, fans for real. And slowly the other students begin to trickle in. Todoroki and Katsuki tie neck and neck, much to Katsuki's chagrin. You tough bastard. He tries to get his next words out, but it's very challenging. Maybe you should just... Oh, why am I trying? He's not gonna listen, says Deku. As he says this, he notices Todoroki glaring at him, and he don't really know how to react. He just starts looking everywhere. But then he also sees Tokoyami, Ochako, one by one arrive. Not in that order. Ochako didn't arrive right after Tokoyami. That would make no sense. Finally made it, says Ochako. You're so fast. Yeah, I've been training. Everyone is on the clock for this race, so unfortunately only 42 people made it in time. The others are disqualified, and so the people that made it in time regather before midnight once again, who spins a roulette, and oh, it's the Cavalry Battle. Midnight says, oh, this is gonna be fun. Let's explain the rules. You'll make teams of 4 or 3 at least, and you'll be battling for these. She whips out a headband, and on it is inscribed 10,000. Well, not 10,000, 10 million, my bad. Each of them will have a number corresponding to how many points they got based on what place they got during the race. So if you got in at 42nd place, you have 5 points, 41st, 10 points, and so on. And this 10 million belongs to our very famous Midoriya. Give it up for him. Huh? Wait, doesn't that make me a target? In the corner of his eyes, he sees everyone. And considering he has the 6 eyes, well, he sees everything. Everyone passes a glare at him, and yet they sweat nervously because they all thought he was crazy and clearly very powerful. The events of this part of the story play out differently, but basically it's all good. Since no one can touch him, and you know he chooses the same people as he would have, most people stay clear of them. Katsuki throws one explosion just to be a dick though. Then afterwards, it's time for a break, a lunch break to be exact. The students head for the canteen, and the spectators would clear their seats to go, you know, eat at the stands or whatever UA prepare for them. Oh God, I'm so tired, says Mina. I hope they got something good. How can you be talking about food right now? The next round is one-on-one, says Ojiro. And? So you just forgot that Midoriya exists, says Kirishima. Oh God, no. Kirishima bursts into laughter, saying that he personally is looking forward to this. But speaking of Midoriya, where is he? Actually, Todoroki's missing as well, says Momo. Now let's go to that oh so famous tunnel, shall we? Alright. Todoroki brought Midoriya there to talk. Talk about what? Midoriya has no idea. We will find out. I didn't know how to say this without coming off as arrogant, but I'm gonna beat you, says Todoroki. Midoriya is surprised, however he says, but why me? I don't think you even realize how much of a threat you really are, and that makes you even more worthy of defeat. Goosebumps run along his body as Deku shivers. He doesn't understand this feeling, but it's the first time since he became part of the human, the superhuman community, my bad, that anyone has ever outright told him this. He begins to even smile, but stops himself as he would slap his own face. Todoroki becomes concerned. Dude, did you just... Yep, I had to knock some arrogance out of myself real quick. Honestly, I didn't think I don't think I'm anything special, but if you think I'm worth defeating, then I'll make sure I can do everything I can to bring you down. There's just one thing I don't get. As their conversation continues and soon comes to an end, we don't hear its conclusion. However, Midoriya learned more about Todoroki than he wanted to, and obviously Katsuki overheard. The truth of the situation made it that much more obvious why he wanted to defeat Deku. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the first crack at him. Welcome onto the stage, Shinso. He's from the support course going against Izuku Mydoria, our resident tryhard. As both enter the stage would erupt with flames and Deku would lower his stance as he readies for battle. Shinso does the same, which he wouldn't have done previously, but Midoriya scares him. He scares everyone. So I get to face the big shot genius, huh? How lucky am I? Midoriya blushes of embarrassment. I don't know what you mean. Hey, at least I'm not facing that little tail motherfucker. No wonder he dropped out. A vein runs along Midoriya's neck as he slowly begins to seethe with anger. What did you say? Why won't my mind control work? Thinks Shinso. He had been trying to brainwash him this entire time, and yet it just wouldn't reach him. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's start. Before he spoke another word, Shinso noticed that Midoriya disappeared, and before him he appeared again as he would be knocked through. Like, I'm talking about Deku obviously held back, but he knocked him so hard that everyone could have sworn that his body slinged like rubber. He would be tumbling through the grass until he slams into a wall. Don't badmouth Ojiro. Oof, he got hit way too hard, says Kaminari. Midoriya would then snap out of this rage, however, and realizes that he could have cracked his rib, which he actually did. So he runs down and quickly heals him in a panic. Well, that was anticlimactic, but Midoriya wins. The winner then gives him a hand, but Shinso refuses. You don't need to pity me. I'm not, sorry, I lost control. Shinso gets up by himself and begins to walk away. Now, Shinso may not have done much, but to have made it this far considering the course he's in means a lot. He even found that his classmates were actually giving him props as he was heading back through the tunnel. Sorry dude, but hey, you survived. You took a little hit, but I mean, you took it like a tank. That hit wasn't little at all. What are you talking about? I'm just trying to make him feel better. Where are they? Hey Shinso? Shinso looks back and Deku says, when you get stronger, I'll see you again, right? Shinso lived his life thinking his quirk was villainous. Most people in his life kind of affirmed that. It made him feel apathetic to everything eventually, but Deku, without even realizing, turned this on its head. He clearly saw Ojiro warning him beforehand about his quirk, and yet Deku didn't care. Whatever. He would leave into the tunnel with a spark of motivation now, though he doesn't like to admit it. Now with this match over, Midoriya returned to the stands. The same fights occur in the same order, all until it is time for Deku to face Todoroki. Everyone has been waiting for this. He walks through the tunnel to meet Todoroki. He just came back from talking to Ochako, trying to, help her out, let her calm down. And she's broken up about it, but it made her seem so inspirational in that moment. And Deku thinks to himself, she's so strong. I have my infinity. I don't worry about getting hit anymore, but she... He starts to wonder if he truly became strong, or if he just got lucky to have such a strong power. But he detects something, and it shifts his focus. Endeavor crosses his path. He remains scary calm, which isn't like him, but that's because he heard Todoroki's story. You certainly don't look like much. These words pierce Midoriya's heart like a knife, but I mean, what can you do about it? Like, he just don't look that intimidating until he takes that blindfold off. But I guess you'll do. You see, Shoto needs to surpass me one day, and I know you're strong. That's exactly why I'm counting on you, but I'm hoping you kick him into gear for me before he defeats you. Midoriya mumbles something under his breath. Endeavor would ask him to repeat that. Todoroki isn't you, and I'm not your stand-in for All Might. The flaming hero becomes angered, however, but Midoriya walks past him. Besides, Todoroki can't beat me. It's not arrogance. Just watch, you'll know what I mean. Deku told President Mike to pick when he wanted to reveal his quirk, even the infinity part of it, which he did want to keep secret. But he felt that the secret was about to be revealed since him against Todoroki clearly has been on everyone's mind. He and Todoroki enter the stage. Their classmates don't even know who to cheer for, but Todoroki and Midoriya's fans choose their allegiances very quickly, and they make it very clear. Kick his butt, Midoriya. Todoroki, destroy him. These people know that they're kids, right? Asks Aizawa. And so it begins, says President Mike. Don't ignore me. Both from Class 1A, let's welcome the boys to the stage. We have Shoto Todoroki, half hot, half cold, and Izuku Mydoria with Limitless. Hey Todoroki, what is it? I just want to let you know, you don't want to use your fire. Todoroki would chuckle. I think you're taking my words lightly. No, I'm trying to save your time. When this starts, you won't be able to touch me. Irked by these words, Shoto begins to explode with ice, and the moment they're told to begin, a wave of ice crashed through Midoriya's stance, leaving everyone gasping as the stage was ripped apart by this. He couldn't dodge it in time. Oh my god, is he okay? Still think I can't touch you? What the? Steps begin to clatter as Midoriya slowly walks out from the dust and frost. Yeah. There's one part of my quirk I left out. Well, multiple, actually. Raising his hand forward, he creates two blues beside Todoroki. He would freeze in place as a result, and Midoriya moves with both feet and kicks him. He nearly hurls his lunge as he's sent tumbling. Luckily, Todoroki catches himself and rides up on a trail of ice. He would then swing torrents of icicles that fire from said trail as he continued to encircle him. However, each and every attack stopped in front of the boy and then dropped at his feet. All of 1A is reminded of this effect because they know what happened with the Nomu. Wait, that was weird, right guys? Yeah, I thought he was repelling the attack like before. Deku would then begin to stretch during this onslaught as he serves some, fan service for everyone. He doesn't even realize it. They're awed by his confidence. And then he grabs his blindfold. The moment his eyes are revealed, all of Todoroki's ice is met by a wave of red, which slices Todoroki's uniform and skin. He nearly falls out of bounds again, but gets back in. Why isn't it hitting? Deku would cock back his fist and then strike the air. Todoroki sidesteps, but he is struck in the face by a sphere of red. Deku strikes the air again and again, dozens of times in 3 seconds, which riddles Todoroki with blow after blow of red until he falls to one knee. I'm getting serious from now on. The crowd erupts once again. And there they are, folks, the 6 eyes. Unleashing them increases his power at least 100-fold. Todoroki, when I heard your story, one thing became obvious. Everyone else here is doing their best, but you won't even give it your all. What the hell are you talking about? Enraged would stand and he would stomp as a volley of massive shards would head his way. Deku advances, each attack stopping and falling regardless of size or speed. Why can't I get through? Because you can't. Because of the infinity between us. What's he talking about? Thinks Todoroki. All of 1A looks to Katsuki at this point because he said something peculiar. They ask if he knows something, if he knows what he's doing, because it's clearly not his red move, because that's a repulsion thing, and he can't keep it active consistently like that. It's just not possible. He said it's like Achilles and the tortoise. That's enough to figure it out, ain't it? Hell no, it's not. It can't be, says Momo. Don't tell me he slows things down as they approach him. Just then, their attention is snatched to the stage as President Mike, that he's been waiting very long to say this. He's finally revealing it, and he says, "Limitless has 5 parts to it. You're seeing one of them right now, the Infinity." While the two continue to fight, he explains that the closer things get to Deku, the slower they go, as his quirk divides the space between he and anything approaching him infinitely. Meaning, it don't matter what you do, you can't touch him. You've done it now, says Aizawa. Now, Midoriya's stocks raise immediately. Such a power is ridiculous. I mean, how does anyone bypass that? Heroes, civilians all over the world come to covet something like that immediately the moment they heard about it. And he also looks like a model. He'd be very good for advertising. Now that they've seen the eyes and everything, I'm saying some businesses are kind of hoping to exploit that. And he obviously got some fangirls. So that's why he was so overconfident. I'm sorry, Shoto.
I stuck a monster on you, thinks Endeavor. Can you stop doing this and just use everything? I told you it doesn't matter. You can't hit me. I don't care.
Before he swings again, his hand is caught. That's not true. He's struck in the chest, getting wind knocked out of him immensely. As he recluses, Deku walks him down. If you didn't, you wouldn't have told me. If you didn't, you wouldn't be trying so hard, but there's no way I'll let you ignore part of yourself. Your flames are yours, Todoroki, not his. You hear me? So come at me with everything you got. At some point with all that he had been through, Todoroki lost sight of things, of his dream, all those years ago when he saw All Might on the screen. But that's when Endeavor fills with glee as Shoto erupts with flames as well as ice. He demands that he surpass him, burn harder than he ever had.
I still want to be a hero. Of course you do. And it's not because he made you do it. It's not because of him, is it? No.
He fires a beam of ice and fire. Deku distorts and sets it aside with red and leaps back into the sky, holding his finger for a flick.
Good, then I can finally see the real you.
As his red fires, Todoroki manages to dodge by pushing himself forward with flames, and once right underneath Midoriya, he raises a pillar of fire and arcs of ice from left and right. They crash into Deku all at once, only to be blown away as Shoto is flattened to the floor, unable to stand.
All this time he was hiding this, says Katsuki. That nerd!
As he begins to drop, Todoroki is pulled into his palm as he would swing.
Aka.
A blinding red light flashes over the entire stage, and an explosion erupts. Everyone slowly regains sight, and through the dust, Deku would trudge through as he would step off the stage. Everyone sees Todoroki has been knocked out of bounds already, but this outcome wasn't surprising.
Feeling better?
asked Deku.
Much.
As he gives him a hand, Todoroki would grab it, and his body fills with energy instantaneously as his cuts and bruises disappear like they never existed.
Did you just...
Shh. I don't.
You just saw that right, ladies and gentlemen. Midoriya can also heal.
By his account, he's broken his bones a few times, but they got put back together like nothing.
What can't this kid do?
He's gonna be a great hero someday.
Midoriya can heal, shouts Ida.
Yeah, I've actually known about it for a while now, says Uraraka. Mina gets mad at her for keeping this private, like you gotta spill the tea. But Ochako doesn't really, she can't do anything. She couldn't have, because clearly Deku was being very secretive about this. He didn't want to have eyes on him.
Not only does he pack a punch,
he can't be touched.
And anything he wants to be healed can be healed.
I give up, says Kaminari. Katsuki doesn't feel defeated in the slightest, however. In his mind, he just had to outlast Deku. He was confident in his stamina, and after all, he's had years with his quirk. What he isn't, putting into account is how powerful Deku is overall, and that, oh yeah, his cursed energy is infinite, basically. It's infinitesimally, barely used at all. Of course, he would know that, but he's ignorant. Deku walked with Todoroki across the field. Together, they showed that even after all the hostility, by the end, they had changed. Todoroki in accepting his flames, and Deku, well,
Ochako is strong. Her quirk isn't the strongest, but it's her mentality. Right, it's the mentality. I might have entered this world abruptly, but I'll do whatever I can so I can save people. To do that, I need to shatter and leave behind the old me.
He slicks back his blindfold, and with a smile, he looks onward with confidence, and Todoroki would think,
the air about him's changed.
A few more fights take place, such as Deku against Ida and Bakugo versus Tokoyami, leading to Deku versus Katsuki. For the 1A class, this is by far the most intense showdown. The animosity and tension between them has been building, and now it'll be released in the ring. Alright, this will be the final match, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise. Let's see how this turns out. Will Katsuki be able to bypass the impregnable defense of Midoriya?
Just watch me. Hey nerd. This ends now.
Midoriya unleashes his 6 eyes as he explodes with cursed energy.
Katsuki got goosebumps. I couldn't agree more.
And begin. Katsuki explodes forward, but Midoriya beats him to the punch and knees him in the stomach. Katsuki doesn't dwell on the pain, however, and swings at his face. An explosion blinds Deku as it would rise to the height of at least 10 stories. The dust and flames begin to gather into the air, however, exposing everyone to Deku, having struck Katsuki in the face. He tumbles across the stage. Deku chases after him, but Katsuki manages to offset the momentum and he would take to the sky. From above, however, as he fires and stacks explosions on top of one another, he gets nothing.
I'm gonna get back at you for that one.
Suddenly, however, he's struck in the side by an explosion, throwing him to the floor. Oh, he saved the attack he gathered from earlier. He's not just strong, he's calculative. As he begins to fall, Deku swings from afar and lands a blow with his red. Then he appears behind him for another swing, but Katsuki's hand is waiting for him.
You think I would notice that basic ass pattern? Huh?
As he fires, however, Deku just moves aside and points.
I know how well you know me.
I counted on that, but it wouldn't have mattered even if you did land that attack. Katsuki begins to be pulled as he feels his skin flaying out from the mere wind pressure of the force. He was literally being pulled away from Deku. No matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't stop, and he would look back to Izuku.
No, don't you dare, you bastard. Ugh.
I'll never fight you again, Kachan. Katsuki is out of bounds. Izuku Mydoria wins. Unlike the excited crowd at the mention of this, 1A is just glad that Deku didn't go any further, because it would have been really easy for him to go too far. Honestly, he has many reasons to. However, the burden of being strong is also having attention, something that Midoriya isn't used to. He stands on the podium, stiff as a board, with cameras flashing, taking pictures of him. Tokoyami and Katsuki, who by the way is currently chained, were also there for 2nd and 3rd place. And obviously Katsuki was doing too much. They had to restrain that nigga. Come on, show us those baby blues, kid. At least smile. Okay. As he pulls on the blindfold and the crowd explodes, startling him, they find it, cute how scared he is at this, but they're kind of weird. I mean, why wouldn't he be? Regardless, he looks like a little bunny with baby blue eyes. Those eyes are really helping his ass right now. If you had the 6 eyes, you would be a fucking... Anyway. The hero and support courses were of course spectators along with the other people in the stands. If you lost at this point, you lost. You just gotta congratulate the winners. Besides, you not beating Deku. Midnight was gonna introduce All Might, but he would cut in and kinda got embarrassed. But then he gave the first medal to Midoriya as he continued his little shindig, doing whatever.
Good job, young Midoriya. You truly come very far. I still have a long way to go. Maybe, but be proud of the present. You earned this.
He nods. All Might then goes to Tokoyami, giving him a hug and presenting him a medal.
I know you prefer your cocoon of darkness, but it is good to see you out of it more often. You did great out there. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
And now for the troublemaker.
He makes his way down to Katsuki and removes his muzzle.
I want a goddamn rematch. If you're gonna beat me, leave me unconscious, damn it.
Deku replies, no. Katsuki.
What?
It's over. If you want someone to be straightforward with you, I'll be the one to do it.
If you don't accept this loss, you'll never surpass Midoriya. But you'll figure it out. I have faith.
Katsuki couldn't help but turn mute. He knew he lost. He just couldn't accept it. He still felt Deku was he was too impactful. Even now, he feels his hits, even though they had been healed. While he was literally being beat up, it was humiliating. He was just supposed to be a pebble. He was just a pebble. With this, the first part comes to an end.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget.